You're watching 7 Action News this morning on TV 20 Detroit.
Starting this month, students in Michigan public schools will be required to take the newly redesigned SAT college entrance exam instead of the ACT. And Sandoval is the only high school representative from Michigan on the National SAT Advisory Board, and she's here this morning to talk about the changes students will find and share some tips for getting ready for that big test. Good morning to you. Thanks for coming in this morning.
Well, thank you.
All right, so first of all, let's talk about why these changes were made to the SAT.
The changes were made because the SAT kind of had a was known as kind of a tricky test.
Yeah.
So they redesigned it to be more aligned with curriculum. Talking with college professors, the information that students need to know to be successful in college, and it's more aligned with the curriculum in high schools.
Okay, and talk about, that versus ACT. Obviously both are still accepted. What are you giving in terms of advice when it comes to both of those tests?
Well, certainly. Well, they're both curriculum-based tests. The ACT has been used by the state of Michigan in prior years. This past year, they switched to the redesigned SAT. And I believe part of the focus of that was the tremendous online services that they're offering for students to prepare for the SAT.
And I know you touched on it, but what kind of changes were actually made to the SAT?
Well, in the past, they had very obscure vocabulary that you really didn't use in an everyday conversation or really needed for college success. So the vocabulary is more aligned with the conversations that you would have in business, certainly in college. They're looking at assessments that allow students grounded in real-life situations. So they're using documents such as the Bill of Rights, the Constitution. So students are looking through those documents and defining questions based on documents that everyone is exposed to in high school.
Gotcha. Okay, and so tell us about your role on this advisory board. What do you do?
Well, I'm very fortunate. I've been on the advisory board for 5 years. It's a community of 20 people from across the country. We meet 3 times a year. There are community colleges, there's a public high school representative, private high school, MIT, Cornell, the University of Michigan, the University of Texas, Princeton University, so a diverse community sharing the things that are important for students to know in college and how we can best prepare them for the SAT and for college.
And speaking of that best preparation, what kind of resources are out there, for getting ready for this? Boy, I remember taking those classes and really stressing out about this SAT. What kind of things are out there that can help students?
Well, that's the best news. The redesigned SAT has provided tremendous online services that are for free.
Okay.
So students can register on the College Board website. They can connect with Khan Academy, that is in cooperation with the College Board, and actually go online, take SAT tests. They can print out a Scantron, because we're still taking that test on paper. So they can print out that Scantron, bubble things in, actually take a photograph of that Scantron on their iPhone, upload it to the College Board and Khan Academy websites and get it scored. And so they know their strengths and weaknesses and can continue to prepare.
Oh, that's great. And you think this revamped SAT will better help students sort of succeed in the future too?
Well, the great news is when students are preparing for the SAT, because it is curriculum-based, if you spend an hour practicing on the SAT, you are actually preparing for your classroom in high school. And in high school, the things that you're working on in high school are the things that are going to be covered on the SAT. So no longer are you paying for that separate tutor as you did, paying thousands of dollars. When you are in the classroom, you are preparing for the SAT, and when you're studying for the SAT, you're going to be a better student in the classroom.
Wonderful. Great advice, great information. Thank you so much for coming in this morning.
Thank you.
And we'll have more information on our website, WXYZ.com.